which the representatives who make decisions where this money goes dictate.
Exactly.
So when you start talking about the importance of your vote and why it doesn't matter, it's because those same folks who say, these black folks ain't gonna show up and vote, they're expecting you to not do that.
Exactly.
And when you start showing up to vote, they literally start changing laws.
Exactly. I got a friend in Georgia who they just trying to make stuff up because, we should have to go out there and vote. We getting tired of people trying to do the early voting, and they don't connect how that has to deal with race.
Yeah, it not only has to deal with racism, right? But it has to deal with cutting at the fabric of the country. The importance of the vote cannot be overstated. It is literally your leverage. It is your accountability stick. It is your ability to say my interests in my country will be heard. While one person is one person, one can come two become five become 100 become 100 million. Not everything works. We have people give up their vote because things don't change right then. Well, why didn't they change? Did you look in and see why your representative didn't vote for the infrastructure bill that's going to revolutionize our infrastructure in this country when it's failing? Are we going to hold them accountable to that? Are we going to talk about the relief bills that has been coming out and holding those positions and say, well, why wouldn't my representative want me to have some relief when we just been through some emergencies? That's on us as people. That's on us, the people that we elect. And so if we're not holding them accountable, we're not looking at their voting record and stop getting caught up in this grievance society that we have that just want to talk about why my feelings hurt all the time versus dealing with the solutions that we're dealing with the issues that really need solutions that they've been elected to call up there to do, then we'll continue to find ourselves in this position. So really, I understand the frustration. I really do. I get it. I understand. But it matters so much that they're willing to go to jail to keep it.
True.
How do we go about holding them accountable?
You got to organize. You got to use the system that's in place to run for office, build that pipeline, understand who the people that you want representing you, that your interests in line. So that means that's work on our end that we have to do. Find those people, then you go out. When they campaign it, you campaign with them. You talk about the issues that they want to solve, and you build advocacy around that individual. We in the black community, we'll stop idolizing the Martin Luther King.
Are you still there, brother?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I'm letting that sit for a second because I want to understand. I might go to a place where I don't know that people really want to deal with.
Oh, we want to deal with it. That was the whole point of this, brother.
All right, now. So I mean, we as a black community don't support the Mo Browns well enough, right?
Yeah.
Don't want to support those men who are going out there and women who are going out there to actually get things done well enough. And we look to point our finger at everybody and look for whatever grievance that we can find shelter in to prevent ourselves from actually working and moving.
Now, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I also wholeheartedly agree with my wife. But a conversation her and I have quite often, I am very adamant about, I think we should have to serve on jury duties. And my wife, she just doesn't understand the necessity of jury duty. She actually hates it. I think we should have to do it. And if for nothing else, we live here in Central Florida. And, when you see things like what happened to our unfortunate young brother, Trayvon Martin, people get mad when these people get off. but then they don't want to serve jury duty. Can you explain to people how important and why jury duty is so important?
But hold on, before you answer, I understand the importance, but I also understand the importance of my pay. And if I don't bring in exactly what I bring in at all times, we're going to have a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. Okay. I'm more concerned about how it's going to impact my family. Not that it's inconveniencing me, but financially how that's going to, possibly devastate my family, because I could get into a case where it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. You never explained that part of it to me, but I get what you're saying now. But still, there are people out there who they will do any and everything they can to try to get out of jury duty. I just wanted you to address, because we spoke about local and civic. Could you just explain how and why, if you do at all, feel like jury duty is important?
It goes back to our civic responsibility and our charge as Americans. When we're talking about our judiciary system and how it functions, judge, jury, verdict. You got your defendant, you got your prosecutor. Jury duty is the 12 votes of your peers, people that represent your community. And if you don't get the right mix of people in your community with, let's say, a black killing, and we talk about it all the time, where you have 12 jurors and 11 of them are white and one of them black, but the population of the community is 25% black. So how do you get to that number of jurors with reflection of the community? Well, to your point, if you're not having people show up or doing anything, saying things that's not true or little tricks that you can get out of jury duty, you are shorthanding someone their ability to get a fair trial that may or may not be you at some point if something happened that unexpectedly you find yourself into. And so it goes back to our civic duty, and then also it goes back to holding the justice system accountable by doing it from an unbiased position. So I'm all for us doing our jury duty and not slipping out of it. And then the last thing I would say, it's great to go through that education process so that you understand how the judicial system works. And so it's educational. You get an understanding of your government. So all those reasons, I do believe that one should do jury duty. But to Mimi's point about the money, I'm not 100% sure of the law on that. But I believe if you're doing jury duty, I don't know how much you get docked on pay for doing jury duty. So I would like to look into that. Because you raise a great point.
Look at that. My baby raising great points.
You're welcome.
I have a two-part question. I love to read and just try to educate myself. I was never really into school. So as I've gotten older, I really am focused on trying to learn as much as possible. With that being said, there's several documentaries out there and millions of books and information about how the government has flooded the black community with drugs and weapons and stuff like that. And I feel like that is part of where the mistrust comes in from our community. So, with that being said, why won't the government ever own up to that?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on where you look at it from trafficking drugs. In your opinion, I think the government has owned up to some of their I guess shortcomings when it comes to their play in the trafficking of drugs throughout this country. But I mean, it's documented how government has been involved in whether the right people went to jail, etc. And that's one thing. But looking at everything from gerrymandering to redlining, all those historic issues where government has literally, caused division and, set black people back intentionally, whether that's from loans, school, resources, etc. It's an extensive list. And I think the government is trying to make a piece of that. It goes back to who are you electing to go to Congress to write the laws to make sure that those things stay in place. The government is consistently moving and is going to reflect the representatives that are in their respective houses in their will and consensus to push forward any law. And if you look over books, there's been things where the government has tried to appease this, and a lot of conversation, particularly on the Democrat side, on police reform, looking at gerrymandering and making sure that these districts are not being torn apart so that they can get fair representation to make it through all that. And then also the money that's coming down from government to focus on giving minorities other opportunities to expand and a leg up to expand is dealing with this as well. So can we do a better job? Absolutely. Well, I think it just really comes down to who are we elected and what they're saying. And then once they do say it, what are they doing? And then looking at the whole landscape of were they effective in trying to do it, or were they stymied by other people who doesn't have those the same views?
And the second part to my question is, and I can attest to feeling this way, is the government really out to destroy the black community?
Yo, that was my question. And not just the black community, but even this COVID thing going on. Is the government for us or against us? Is it population control? What's happening?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And that's a really great question. And, again, it's a double-edged sword. You look at government and you can look at all the things in history that we can point to that are valid, credible, backed up and proven, where direct attack on the black community has been in place. And in the same breath, you can see the counter argument to it. So if we picking up on the theme here, we're all talking about the importance of government and who we have representing us making these decisions. And so COVID, no, the government is not trying to do population control. They're not trying to turn us into zombies by getting us all vaccinated. And this is coming from someone who never took the flu shot and literally bucked my whole university when they tried to make me do this. So I'm not no person that has a long history of being for this, but at the same time, as you advance, you look at the information around you, look at the conditions, and be able to trust institutions. Trust the professionals who dedicate their lives to saving lives. That if you have general consensus among 90, 95, 98% of doctors saying that they are behind something, then you have the data. We're about a year and a half now outside of the vaccines, and I've been vaccinated. I haven't turned into no alien or anything like that. But I saw the real depths. I saw, lost my granny to COVID, and seeing friends and family members and associates lose their friends, family, associates to COVID. I seen it shut down this country, and if we can't trust government to a certain degree, we can't, really to a large degree, we can't trust our institutions of public health, we can't trust our education system to function in a way that's going to be at the best preservation of our lives. If we can't trust it, then there's a gap that I don't know how we feel. So the government itself is not after the black community. It's been people within the government that has been use the government to target the black community. But the government itself is us. We are the government. And really trying to drive home to people we are the government.
We the people.
We are the government.
Now, as someone who does not partake, I still feel like, as an adult, you should be